guys, welcome back to my channel. So today I'm going to be talking about if it gets easier being in a military relationship. And this is like the top question that I get. The other video that I recently did was, is it worth it being in a military relationship? And that was the other top question. That one, and does it get easier? So I wanted to make another video specifically on this topic. So before I get started, I wanted to mention two other things. So one, I did a giveaway last Friday, and the winner of the giveaway is going to be in the description. So thank you all for participating in the giveaway. We are raising so much money for my book and the campaign, and I'm just super excited about it. Everyone who donated in the last giveaway will also be entered in to win my new t-shirt that I'm designing for my Etsy shop. And I wanted to have it here with me, but they're still getting printed. So I was like, I wanted it to launch on Earth Day, but sadly it's not. But here's a picture of what the shirt is gonna look like. So it says flourish with a little apple on it. And I don't know if I mentioned this, I might have to do like a separate video on what God has been speaking to me about this word flourish. But also, if you guys have been following me for a while, you know that I have 3 apple trees at our house. And so God has been really working with like the word flourish, but also the apple trees and like the meaning of what that is, but also what it's doing in my own life. And so just this whole story behind it, which I'll explain in another video. But if you donated to the last giveaway and before that, you will be entered in to win my new t-shirt. And then all this week, if you donate $5 or more, you will get a 25% off coupon to my entire Etsy shop. So yeah, that will be this whole week, and then whoever has donated by the end of the week will get the coupons on Friday, when hopefully my t-shirt will officially launch. So hope you guys are excited about that. Thank you for supporting me and this channel. And if you're new to this video, welcome. I'm Brittany and I'm creating a book, so that's why I'm talking about this. But anyways, I will stop talking so we can get into this video. All right, so the question is, does it get easier? And I feel like we've all asked this question at some point in being in a military relationship, and we're just like, we are lonely, we are sad, we, you know, are feeling all these things. And for us, it is worth it. You know, if you answered yes to my previous video of is it worth it, you know, you're still thinking, does it get easier? And it's a tough question to be answered in a yes or no, and you guys know that I never have a specific yes or no. And so I wanted to give you both sides of does it get easier, of the no, but also the yes. Also, if you guys know, I love to always end on a positive note because I think we should be more positive. So I'm going to start with the no's, which is also we have to start off with the hard stuff. So here are the no's of it does not get easier. All right, so for the first one, I would have to say, no, it does not get easier saying goodbye to the person you love. That for me has always been hard. I personally feel like it's always gonna be hard. And as a side note, whenever I was thinking about this, I wanted to address the what ifs whenever your significant other leaves, because I feel like the what ifs are gonna kill you every single time they leave if you don't capture your thoughts and get rid of them. Because what ifs are straight lies from the enemy, and you can't control any of the what ifs that you have. And so I would just encourage you, if you have what ifs every time your significant other leaves, to really capture your thoughts and think like logically about them, but also just process those thoughts with your significant other, because usually they're not real, and we just have lies in our head telling us that we need to be fearful about these what ifs. But anyways, so for me personally, it has not ever gotten easier for me to say goodbye to Connor. And I don't think that it's ever easy to say goodbye to someone. And like my family, when I go home to Texas and I visit my family and I have to leave, it's like heart-wrenching for me, because you just love these people so much and you want to spend all the time in the world with them, but you have to leave. There has to be a point where you say goodbye, and those are hard for me. And with Connor, I actually get re-triggered every time he leaves. So like he'll leave on an underway, and just for like a week. And for me, like the trauma from him leaving on deployment and him leaving for like long amounts of time, like I don't actively think about this, but for some reason I have all these emotions of like all the times he has left me. And so then I feel like more just sad because it's not just happened once, it's happened multiple times, and I know it's gonna happen again in the future multiple times. And so for me, it's like very traumatic and reoccurring. You know, it's like a reoccurring wound that you keep opening up of having to say goodbye to the person you love, and it's just hard. I would say that that never gets easier to say goodbye. Another no that I would have to say is it does not get easier missing them. For me, I always miss Connor, and I think that missing them is inevitable because you love them and you want them to be with you. You want them to be, you know, you want to hold their hand, you want to kiss them, you want to touch them, you want to spend time with them and things like that. And so I think just in that question of does it ever get easier in missing them, and I don't think it does, because I think we're meant to. I think that's a normal human reaction that we're going to feel. And so yeah, it just, in that aspect of missing them, I don't think it gets easier. Another one that I didn't realize was super impactful to me and that I didn't realize wasn't easy for me until I like started making this video was anytime Connor tells me dates that he's gonna be gone. And he'll like text me or he'll call me while he's at work if he knows dates, or just when he gets home, and he'll say, I'll be gone all of March, or I'll be gone for these weeks in March. And for me, it just doesn't get easier to hear these are the days I'm gonna be gone, or these are the weeks I'm gonna be gone, these are the months I'm gonna be gone. And it like hurts my heart because I then have to prepare my heart for when he leaves. And then it goes to like, it's not easy for us to say goodbye or to miss them. And so it's like me preparing for those, but also preparing my heart in that moment of like not being sad, even though that's like kind of inevitable for him in the future being gone. So it's like this weird concept. I don't even know if any of that made sense, but it's just really hard for me. And I feel like it never gets easier to hear the days that he's gonna have to be gone, or the months that he's gonna have to be gone. It is a normal thing of like, okay, yeah, he's gonna have to be gone, but just because it's normal doesn't mean that's easy. And I think that that's where I have to draw the line of like, it's normal, so okay, but it's not easy to hear it. So if that makes sense. All right, so I just wanted to do a quick 3 and 3 for the no's and the yeses. If you guys have any more that you're like, no, I cannot do this, it's not easier. If you have a yes, I totally can do this, and it does get easier, then definitely drop them down below and let others know, maybe comfort or help them feel like they're not alone with the no's. So definitely drop those in the comments if you have any extra. So for the yeses, I would say that yes, it does get easier to live without them, which every time I say that kind of breaks my heart, because the fact that we have to live without them is like, it's just so hard. And like, why do we choose this life? But it goes back to, it's totally worth it, and you know, this stuff. But I would say, and again, it's hard to say, that yes, it does get easier to live without them. The first probably few months that I lived with Connor that he would leave, I could not fall asleep. Like, I was so scared to fall asleep because I was home by myself and I didn't know if someone was gonna break in and kill me, or you know, it's just something really scary, and I could not fall asleep. And something that helped for me, which might help for you if you're like a Christian or you listen to worship music, is I would just play worship music until I fell asleep. Because for me, worship music was so comforting, and I just knew that God was present, and it just gave me such peace to know that. And so that really helped me, and now I don't need worship music. I mean, I like worship music just in general, but to fall asleep, I don't specifically need it, and I fall asleep really quickly, and I'm able to do that by myself. I'm able to go out and, you know, go shopping and go to the mall. Whereas when I first moved to Washington, I was so scared to do that, especially because Connor was on deployment, and it was just scary. It was very scary, and it wasn't easy at first, but it does get easier, and it does get better in falling asleep, going out and about, traveling like on an airplane by yourself and things like that. So those do get easier. All right, and so the second one that I would say, yes, it gets easier, is yes, it gets easier to making friends and finding jobs. And I know that it's hard right now. You just moved to a new state and you're like, how do I find friends? How do I find a job? And it can be really difficult because you're out of your comfort zone. You are, again, in a new state and you don't know anyone. And I would have to say that it definitely gets easier each time you move to be able to find friends and find a job. And I can tell you, personally that I have grown in being more bold and making friends, specifically because like when I lived in San Diego, I was very isolated. I didn't have any friends, and I was probably in the worst state of like life that I probably had ever been in. And like, I wouldn't say depression, but it was like really close to just this overwhelming sadness and wanting to sleep all the time and not having like the drive that I have now. And I didn't have any friends. I didn't know anyone other than like 2 other spouses who I like rarely hung out with. But when we moved to Washington, I decided, okay, I am going to pursue friendship here because I like need to have friends. I need to have a community. And literally the first week that we moved here, we went to find a church, and we immediately had friends and people to connect with. And so I would say it does get easier because you become more bold, you become comfortable with stepping out of your comfort zone, because you have to do that as a military wife to be able to find friendships, to be able to find a job. And so it becomes easier to be okay with the word no if you don't immediately get a job, because it's hard. And so just being more bold, being more secure in who you are, I think comes with being a military wife. And it's a growing and strengthening process, which I definitely think does get easier as you learn and grow. So that would be my second one. Okay, and then the last and third yes is, yes, it does get easier coping with them being gone, coping with loneliness, coping with anxiety, coping with all of these things. And I again personally believe that being a military wife is a 100%, well, I don't know if I would say 100%, but like really close to 100% of a blessing. Because again, like being a military wife has strengthened me, has taught me, has grown me in so many amazing ways that I don't know if I would have ever grown in. Like I could have, but it might have taken a lot longer for me to grow in so many areas of my life. And being married young, I never got to experience what loneliness was because I was always with someone. And a lot of people who do get married young never experience loneliness because they're always with their significant other. And so as a military wife, you get to learn what loneliness is. And for some of you, you're like, get to learn? Like, yes, you get to learn that because it's an awesome thing to be able to be independent, to learn to be lonely and how to cope in those areas, or be anxious because your husband or significant other is across the world fighting for our country, and now you have to learn how to cope in healthy ways for being anxious. And a lot of people don't have this experience so young in life, so they don't deal with their anxiety, they don't deal with their loneliness, they don't deal with, you know, whatever things that they're dealing with. They just kind of brush them to the side. And we as military wives have an amazing opportunity to learn these things, and it gets easier for us in other circumstances that for some people seem really difficult, but for us, we're military wives, we can handle anything at this point. So I would say that like learning to cope in the midst of circumstances is something that does get easier, again, with growth, with handling things in healthy ways, and just being stronger each time a situation happens. So I would just encourage you guys, if you just feel like, does it get easier? I'm in the middle of like no friends, loneliness, anxiousness, all the things that if you chose that it's worth it, definitely know that it does get easier. Again, it doesn't get easier with missing them and saying goodbye and hearing those dates, but in other ways it does get easier. I promise, at least personally for me, I shouldn't say I promise, but at least for me it has, and I know it will for you too. So I hope this video was helpful in answering your questions of does it get easier? And if you guys like this video, be sure to like it and subscribe to my channel if you are new. So as always, I love you guys so much, and I will see you guys in my next video. Bye.